Beardy and the Beast, The Second Wall.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. This is a placeholder intro song.
Welcome to The Second Wall, a binge-free zone where we will look at a series and discuss it in small chunks, similar to water cooler conversations of old. We can be found on most podcast and social media platforms, a full list of which can be found at beardyandthebeast.com. Today we'll be discussing the Netflix series Squid Game. With me, of course, is Drew. Please feel free to join the conversation in the comments below.
We will not condone any act that impedes the democratic process.
Yeah. So that brought some interesting thoughts right off the bat. It's like, so they said until the majority decides to play again. One of the things that actually entered my head was like, especially when we see, it was 218 that was trying to commit suicide. Yeah.
Yes.
When we saw that, my immediate thought was, oh, now there'd be one less person.
Hmm.
And that would have changed it.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. So it would adjust the total representation in the original vote.
Yeah, it's kind of where I thought they were going with it. Especially considering they were showing us the kind of the struggles the characters are going through, and we're not seeing any indication of them going to change their vote. We still didn't even see. We didn't see 456 doing it or 67. So yeah, that entered my head. I'm not completely surprised that one changed his vote. Actually ties to what I said in the first episode, where it's like he doesn't have anything to lose. It actually kind of surprised me that he would it end the game in the first place.
Yeah, I knew as soon as they introduced the vote 201 and they were doing it reverse that the old man was going to be it, but he seemed to like be enjoying the game as he
Yeah,
was there, so I'm surprised that he voted to end it as well.
yeah,
But the structure of the vote came out a bit different. I expected to see something more like people voting to end it until one kind of breaks that cusp,
mm,
and then for the um, people voting to stay to start flooding in.
yes. That actually would have almost made more sense to me. It would have. I could have seen that being like at the. I would have seen like 50 or 60 voting to end it, and then just that one person going like, "Nah, I like this,"
Mm-hmm.
and seeing that break. I kind of expected a landslide for people to keep the game going, and either be it just like voter that we talked about voting to end it.
Mm,
I mean, let's face it, that democratic process is a little hard when it's very clear who's voting for what.
true.
That's one thing that surprised me a little bit. If and this could have been something with the editing around that, was 101 voting to look the way they did it. I think 101 voted to end the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
yeah. All right.
Simply because of what they went into in episode 2 here.
Yeah.
So him being like, okay, they have money, let's go take it,
Yes.
which would be more in line with his character.
Yes.
So that's kind of pie in the sky.
Well, I mean, they don't realize that it's out in the middle of an island, in the middle of nowhere, and it's not going to be quite that easy. Yeah, no, that it did make more sense with this character at that point, so I agree there. It makes it fit more.
It looks like you were right about 67.
Mm.
Indeed, was a North Korean refugee.
Yeah.
Looks like she was taken advantage of by they're like coyotes.
Yeah.
And I anticipate she went into debt getting a bunch of money to bring the parents over.
Yeah.
That's how she ended up in her circumstance.
I'm curious about her 199's debt.
Yeah, I'm right now 199 is the only character I actually like. I mean, besides Young.
Yeah. For me, 199 and 67 are the only two. Both of them feel sympathetic.
I don't have any sympathy to 67 at all.
Yeah.
They're laying it down, but needs a little bit more. I think she needs to, like, in my mind, she has to prove it.
I guess a better way to phrase it would be from what we're getting of their motivations. There seems to be they actually seem to be product of circumstance as opposed to the other characters that we've seen where kind of done it to themselves. And that's where the sympathy is coming from.
I mean, I think they're laying out the structure for all of these characters to be more of a product of their environment. They So if we use 67 and 199 as kind of a guide stone,
Yeah.
based on what you just said, I can see that in 456 if he wasn't lying about the situation at work, because he used to work for an auto company,
Yeah.
and then he lost his job, or he left his job, and it sounds like it's because of a workplace accident where he witnessed somebody die.
Yeah.
So that would have impacted him mentally, and then he had a couple failed businesses. So um, is him being bad with money and not being trustworthy product of repeated situations? I mean, it sounds like they'll elaborate it.
Yeah. That's fair. Would like to say I believe his motivation of his mom being sick a lot more than the motivation of losing a daughter.
Yeah, I still have that point of view that I mentioned in our first discussion, that he had resigned himself to where he was.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't think he could change it, so he had to distance himself. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen people do stuff like that in real life.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be surprised me if they're in. And this this series so far in episode 2 is actually showing strong structures for motivation and script writing.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was that complex. But if they don't touch upon it, I wouldn't be surprised as well.
Yeah.
I am happy, though, that they pulled open the series with the game, and now they're giving us backstory.
Yes. I appreciate that too. It's more interesting, especially when it's a drama series, to elaborate throughout the series instead of throwing it all out and watching it happen. So yeah, most of them we got a good motivation for. We still don't really have the old man's motivation, but again, I think it's got nothing to lose. But I am starting to connect with your legacy idea from the first one, where it's like this game's just been going on and it's pulled in again.
I really hope I'm not right about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could see it when we discussed Carol on Tuesday. I have a knack for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more parallels to Saw now.
Okay.
Especially with the policeman. I think it's I just missed his name. I think it's Hwang Jun-ho, with the missing brother. And that definitely suits the structure of, like, the police people outside of, like, trying to either hunt down, I don't know what the villain is in Saw, because I don't like gore movies.
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw. Because there was a police presence there and they were investigating it. Some people trapped in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing parallels there, but something tells me that characters in Squid Game are a little bit more sympathetic, even 456 at this point.
Yeah.
Than the people that were in Saw.
Yeah, there's definitely sympathy there. Like, I agree. That I don't.
It's kind of like you can empathize with 199 and 67, but sympathize with 456 and 218.
Yeah, a big thing that I always go to with that is like when you're talking about, him losing his job and such and all of that. It's one of the big things that I always think of is explanation, not excuse.
Hmm.
And I just still get the feeling from him that he used excuse, not as an explanation of. And that's where my sympathy around him breaks down a bit.
Oh, it really, like, we would need elaboration of the circumstance,
Mm.
but like I could see like a horrific death of like a dear colleague,
Yeah.
like having profound mental impact on him.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, we're just arguing hypotheticals.
That's very true.
So what I'm wondering, I'm thinking that there's probably a game in each of these episodes.
Yes.
Now I'm wondering if they were considering what they seem to be doing is either implying that the real world is its own kind of hell game, like
Mhm.
this episode was called Hell,
Yeah.
and everyone just went back to their original lives.
Yeah.
Because the vote wasn't really much of a game.
Yeah, I felt like there was going to be a game in the real world there as well. One of the things that I actually noted was how they were dropped off
Hmm.
because they were paired. And I was just
Mm.
trying to think like, okay, is there a reason for this pairing? But I didn't really see anything come out of it. Like the only pairing that we had dropped off 67 to 456 being dropped off together is like, okay, well we already know they had a direct conflict, as it were. So I almost expected something to be explored with 218 and 199.
Okay.
I just thought there might have been a reason why they were dropped off together. Wasn't explored, so not sure if that's a missed opportunity or if there's something that's going to come from that in the long run. Be interesting to see if there's anything tied to that. Yeah, I expected there to be a bit of a game around that too.
Yeah, there could either be a real world connection between the two. Um, I don't feel like doing math right now, but there could be some mathematical thing.
Mm.
Um, like 67 to 456 is 199 to 218.
Yeah.
There might be some structure in that. So then it makes you wonder um, who was dropped off with 101 and who was dropped off with tier 1.
Yeah.
This does. I'm a bit worried about the storytelling that it might start emulating Lost too much.
Okay.
Because I doubt they're going to get dropped off every episode. So
Yeah.
the way that they do the real world exposition, is it going to be just flashbacks to the real world a la Lost? And if it does, like, that's a very dated feeling method of storytelling.
If that's the way they're going to go, I think I'd be okay with that if they vote it later in the series to go back home.
Mm.
Because then you get that bit of backstory of the characters and then see them in the real world. And I'm really surprised that they went home after the first game. That's generally not the structure I've seen in similar type stories.
Okay.
I expected there to be a bit of a push and a bit of jostling. So when I see the vote that close, the way I would have expected this in other media would have been the either it's going to be a landslide to stay, or it's going to be that one vote went to stay instead of to keep. And then the core group is trying to convince people to leave the game. Right? Because there's the idea of what's more important, this money or living. It's about giving a second chance and not about the money. And actually, that is one thing that I will say with 456 that did come through pretty well when the stepdad gave him money, went and punched him and said, "No, it's not actually all about the money." I'm like, that's the type of message, and that kind of again goes back to the Saw idea. It's about the second chance, not about walking away. And I think that's why we didn't see people change their vote. For the most part, they're like, no, I'm going to find a way to do this. Be it, we're going to go steal all the money from the gangster, or I am humbling myself and going to my ex's husband and saying, please, for my mother.
Well, yeah, they definitely put it in a place where people were left with no choice but to go back.
Yeah.
And I don't think this show is so shark jumpy to be like, oh, it was the plan from the secret society the whole time, and they put you in these circumstances.
Yeah.
They guided it. I don't see that, which is good.
Yeah. Well, that is something that actually entered my mind when we get to 456's mom's home and she's not there. And it just immediately wrote down to like, they do something to coerce people back in.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't.
Well, I thought that particular circumstance was going to be the money lenders having like roughed up the mom. It's kind of where I thought. I guess that leaves us predictions.
Yeah. Well, I guess actually before predictions, what's the cop gonna do?
Well, that's a prediction.
Okay. I guess just sorry from my the way my brain goes right away. It's like they seem to be so isolated. What's the point of introducing this character? Yeah, I guess I can see how that leads into predictions.
I mean, handsome protagonist, just looking for his brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you're introducing a character that doesn't have any of these known flaws. I mean, I'm not saying he's like a Paramount or like an Adonis or something like that. I mean, he's quite handsome. I'll definitely give that to him. But I'm wondering they'll use him as an anchor. Sorry, they'll use him as an anchor between the game and the real world.
Okay.
To keep it grounded.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah. Keep it less fantastical.
All right, so
now
predictions.
Yeah, predictions. So the thing that I'm considering right now, and that's rooted in my predictions, it's actually kind of changed right now, because the people who do not want to participate no longer have to. So everyone knows the stakes, and they're all participating themselves.
What do you mean they no longer have to be there?
So to return to the game, you go to the place that you were originally taken from voluntarily.
While we're shown them going there voluntarily, I don't get the impression that it would have been voluntary.
No, I'm thinking about it too deeply compared to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everyone going to the game is willingly doing so.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm following you.
So everyone knows the stakes. Either win or they die.
Yeah.
And I'm really wondering who's going to survive. Is it going to be the cadre, or are they going to play it through to the end? And will escape the final game?
Yeah. I'm interested to see how many people didn't go to the meeting spot, and are we going to see people roughed up, or are we going to see half the numbers?
I think
because now they've refused to play the game that they've done, and refusing to play gets you eliminated.
Yeah, but you wouldn't see them because elimination means death, so you won't even see them.
No, but I know we wouldn't see them. I'm saying, will we see, instead of 201 people there, we're going to see 101?
I think it'll be over 170.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just the concept. I don't know exactly what the number's going to be.
It's just like thematically they chose people who they could take advantage of in this way for
Yeah.
the sake of entertainment. So I assume that the number is going to be higher than expected.
Yeah.
I think right now, if I were to put my money on anyone, like a sole survivor,
Yeah.
probably 67.
Agreed.
If it's a group, because it's Netflix, probably 4, 5, 6, 67, and 199.
I'm going to throw one more into that. I think we're going to see that turnaround from 101 a lot quicker.
See, I was thinking of that, but I also was thinking redemption through sacrifice. Like the way they set him up in like these type of series, he'll like, "Yo, this is me," and then he dies.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and it makes sense too, because these all are also the characters that they introduced. But I definitely think 001 is going to die, like he predicted in the first, and I don't see 218 make it.
No, I don't either. I actually think I could see 218 not even being part of the code. I made that, that switched in my head for two reasons. One, he voted to stay after being the one to suggest having the vote to leave. And take out a loan on your mom's shop and her house to go and gamble in the stock markets.
I mean, true.
Like, come on, man. Fraud, embezzlement. I mean, I figured he had some shady stuff beyond just debts.
If there is a curveball, if it's a curveball lone survivor, it's gonna be 218.
Oh, I don't hate that either.
And there'll be like redemption there, and he'll probably set up 456's mom because they know each other.
Yeah,
but that's if there. I don't think there will be, but
I would agree that. Yeah, it's the only way I can see him kind of surviving.
Yeah. The one thing I hope, and this is a hope. This is no longer a prediction.
All right.
I hope that the way that the deaths of any of these main characters are handled are from the perspective of the game hosts, are just as like handled as nonchalantly as the previous deaths in the game. Like, I don't want super lingering on them, and then like the long crying screen as you like hold your friend's head.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I just want to see one of their hands trying to reach out of those gift box coffins, and it gets pushed in and drilled shut.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, did you notice the common theme?
That gift box?
The gift boxes constantly. Gift boxes containing death.
Yes.
So you had the box with the gun.
Yep.
/ lighter. So that's double because of smoking. Then you had the gift box coffins and the gift box calling card.
Yes.
So this is going to be a common thing too.
Yep, I agree.
Just make sure we tag that on the end.
Thanks for huddling around the second wall with us here tonight. Join us next time as we continue our discussion on Squid Game. Please join the conversation in the comments, in social media, or on our Discord, as we would love to continue the conversation there. Again, a full list can be found at beardyandthebeast.com. Thank you, and have a great night.